Open houses are one of the most common marketing tools in real estate. They give sellers the chance to show off their home to a larger pool of buyers, and they're an easy, low-pressure way for buyers to start checking out what's on the market, especially when they're early in their search. But here's the thing, most people don't really understand how open houses work and the dynamic behind them. So in this video, I'm going to tell it like it is. Do open houses actually help sell a home? Should buyers be going to them? I'll cover the red flags to watch out for, how to avoid getting taken advantage of, and everything you should know before walking into one or having one for your home. If you're new here, my name is Jessie McClellan and I'm a realtor here in Oshawa, Ontario with the Lisa Abbott team. I make videos to help you make sense of our real estate market here in Durham region. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just real insights to help you make the best decision when it's time for you to buy or sell your home. If that sounds good to you, then subscribe to the channel. Before we get into what you need to know about open houses as a buyer or a seller, here's how they work from a realtor's perspective. At an open house, you're going to run into one of three people: the listing agent, a realtor on the listing agent's team, or a realtor in the listing agent's brokerage. And they want to do one of two things: sell you that house or acquire you as a client and hopefully sell you on another one. Only one of those three realtors has any real incentive to sell you that home. The other two probably don't really care about selling the listing as much as they just want to acquire you as a buyer client and sell you something else. Usually the listing agent is going to have the most information about the property and have the biggest connection to the sellers. If it's an agent who's on the listing agent's team, what they know about the home really depends on how they operate as a team. Are team members involved on the listing side, or is their job just to acquire buyers and show homes? Some larger teams operate with the lead agent working the listing side, and then they have buyer agents who work specifically with buyers but won't be involved on the listing side of things, so their knowledge on the home may be a little bit more limited. For example, Lisa and I are on a team, but we operate as a partnership and work together on everything rather than competing against each other. We're both designated representatives on every listing and buyer representation agreement. And if it's an agent in the brokerage who's hosting the open house, chances are they may not have a ton of in-depth information on the home, no connection to the seller, and really just want to pick up a buyer client. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've met plenty of amazing people who became clients from open houses, but you've got to be honest. Regardless of who's hosting the open house, there's only one contract in place, and that is between the seller of the home and the listing brokerage. So here's what you need to know as a buyer. There's good info in this part for sellers too, but feel free to skip ahead for the seller part if you'd like. As a potential buyer, attending open houses can be a useful tool at the start of your search to feel out what might work for you or what areas you like or don't like. And if you're trying to find the right agent for you, it can be a great way to meet realtors and see how they conduct themselves. Are they professional, personable? Are they knowledgeable about the home and the area? Do they listen? And are they genuinely working in the best interest of their client? Do they give off the vibe that says I work my butt off for my clients and I know my stuff? Or do they give off the I don't really want to be here, there's a football game on vibe instead? It can be a useful tool for you, but you have to understand that when you go through an open house, whoever's at the open house is representing the seller. They have no obligation or responsibility to work in your best interest because they have no contract signed with you. In fact, their job is to sell you that house or at least encourage you to think about an offer. The only things they're required to disclose as the listing agent are known defects or issues that would not be visible to you. For example, mold in an attic between the attic structure and the insulation. But if there's a damp part of, say, a basement that's unfinished, that's visible, they do not have to point that out because they're not representing you. You're essentially there representing yourself. So if you don't know what potential problems to look for, it's easy for things to be missed that would normally be brought to your attention by the agent you're working with, especially when, as a buyer, you're excited and often looking for positives rather than negatives. The agent hosting the open house probably isn't going to tell you about the crack in the foundation that you glanced over, or the fact that you talk about your dog, but the condo board has a bylaw against dogs, or that your furniture that you currently own will probably not fit in the house. They're going to answer your questions with facts and to tell you all of the features and benefits about the home. So does this mean that you shouldn't attend open houses? Of course not. Like I said, it can be a useful tool, and some people just love going to an open house on the weekend, sometimes even when they're not buying. But here's my advice. Attending open houses makes the most sense to me when you're at the beginning of your search. when you haven't been pre-approved, or when you're still on the fence about whether you're going to buy and you're just feeling it out. Once you reach a point where you've decided that yes, you're going to buy a house and you want to start actively viewing homes, this is when you really should seek representation. Sometimes there will be buyers without agents who only want to work with the listing agents, and usually they do that because they're hoping that they will be able to get a good deal. And years ago, that might have been the case, or in a very slow market when there's only one offer in the home. The agent might have been willing to adjust their commission to help put the deal together if it wasn't satisfactory to the seller on its own. However, in the current market, especially on homes with multiple offers and under our current representation structure, that should no longer be the case. The listing agent is working for their seller and trying to represent them to the best of their abilities, and they are the top priority, which means as a buyer, you would not be represented or protected. You're receiving service as a courtesy to the seller. And if the seller and buyer were to agree to multiple representation, meaning that both parties are being represented by the same brokerage and designated representatives, it essentially impairs their ability to represent either party most effectively, as they could not promote and protect either party's interests over the others, and instead would need to behave in an impartial manner. It essentially strips their ability to offer advice about price or terms that should be included in an agreement of purchase and sale on either side. And honestly, I really don't like representing both sides of a transaction because I believe it's extremely important to have someone who is in your corner, going through the homes that you're interested in, someone who's seeing what you're seeing and required to represent you in your best interests, who tells you the positives and the negative aspects of a home and talks through your wants, needs, and lifestyle. Ideally, also someone who's knowledgeable with the specific area and home types you're interested in. Now, when you sign a contract with an agent, it is a commitment on both sides. You're committing to use them as your agent if you purchase a home during the specified time frame and in the area or property specified in the agreement, and they're committing to representing you and your best interests at all times and helping to guide you through your home buying journey. So it's important that you're confident that your agent acts with integrity and is trustworthy, as well as competent and able to show you homes in your budget that you want to see and negotiate on your behalf. For me personally, I will always want to meet a potential buyer client first before we sign any commitment because I want to make sure that we're a good fit as much as they want to make sure that we're a good fit. I don't want to commit to representing someone if I feel like we're not going to mesh well, or if their search is going to be focused in an area that I don't feel like I can represent them fairly. I've also noticed some common red flags that I would not want to experience as a buyer, but I see them happening way more often than I should when I host open houses. Number one is agents who are willing to write an offer on a home that they have not viewed in person themselves. To me, this is a huge red flag. With how often I find defects or point out something to my buyers that they didn't notice themselves, there's no way I would ever feel comfortable writing an offer on a home that I haven't seen. Even if my buyers happened to go through an open house and loved it, I will absolutely book a showing to see it myself before I would write the offer. In my opinion, you can't protect a client and represent their best interests without seeing the homes in person, ideally with them. Number two is agents who are not willing to make the drive to show homes. If an agent won't make the drive out, this is a huge red flag too, and they should not be servicing this area. I'm located here in Oshawa, and unfortunately, it's common to run into buyers coming from out of town who say my agent won't drive out here to show me homes or they're too busy. Of course, I'm not talking about a one-off scheduling conflict, but if the agent consistently cannot or will not show you homes in the area you're looking to buy in, then that agent should have referred you to someone who is willing and able. Again, as an agent, I can't sign a contract saying I'm representing a buyer and then tell them that I don't want to drive to show them a home. That's ridiculous. As a realtor, we're compensated for our efforts, and if someone is going to write an offer for you and collect a paycheck, then they can get in their car and drive to show you the home. And if they won't, then my advice is to find a buyer's agent who will. Now for a seller's perspective on open houses. Give me all of the buyers with an agent who are too busy or doesn't drive out here, because these are usually the buyers who sellers and listing agents love because they consistently make blind, unguided offers on homes. These offers are more likely to overpay, to exclude things like conditions on financing and home inspection, and they're more likely to not pull accurate comparable properties, and the agent is less likely to know of any negative aspects about the home or the neighborhood. They're either going to be the best offer and buy the home, or they'll encourage more better suited offers to come in for you to choose from. As a seller, if you interview agents and ask them about open houses, you would get a mix of answers. Truthfully, it comes down to whether the agent likes to do them and is good at them or not. Often if they don't like doing them, they'll say something along the lines of, oh, you don't need an open house to sell a home. And it's true, you don't need it. But if the homeowner is able to accommodate them, it's in their best interest to do them. I've met great clients from open houses, sure. But most importantly, on many of our listings, we have received extra offers from buyers who attended the open houses for our sellers. Sometimes they come through and love the property and book a showing with their agent and end up offering. Sometimes they come through the open house with or without an agent, and just because they want to be able to ask some questions in person, and they end up making an offer. And sometimes they end up offering with an agent who has never seen the property. Either way, having multiple offers on the table, even if they are not great offers, is leverage for the seller and helps us increase the chances of getting the best price and best terms possible. As a seller, it's your choice whether or not you wish to have an agent host an open house. If you're able to accommodate them, I always recommend that my clients do them, but everybody's situation is different. I hope this gave you some clarity on open houses, how they benefit sellers, buyers, and realtors individually, and some red flags to look out for when it's time to choose the right realtor for you. If you have any questions for me about buying or selling a home in or around Durham region, you can use the first link in the description to book a call with me at a time that works best for you. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!